You become older, you become bitter from your experiences, yet haven't settled for anything and still feel entitled for the best and the brightest. I mean, why should you compromise your comfort? And that right there becomes your defeat. I'm sure many representatives of the current generations have wondered, how come my parents, my grandparents had less resources than me, yet they seem more happy and content than me? How come they feel that they have experienced a great life, whereas I sit on my sofa and dream about smallest things, a better phone, a better computer, a flashier car? Well, this is a great question, and to find the answer we have to explore our current state of living situation, the way we do things now compared how they did 30, 40, 50 years ago. So what has changed? Let's see what this video suggests.
I remember when I started to learn programming. I had the desire and determination, but I didn't know where to start. I had to make a choice, which programming language should I learn? Maybe Java, C#, PHP, Swift, Python? I spent the whole week just thinking, trying to make a choice, but I couldn't. This is the paradox of choice. All the different choices, instead of helping me pick a single language, they actually made me feel anxious and paralyzed. I started to lose my drive and had doubts whether or not I should start it anyway.
Parallax of choice, the illusion of choice. You have so many options to choose between that you end up being confused. And as we know, inaction is also an action. If you don't choose, life chooses for you. And if we try to scale up this issue, we arrive at internet era, where we have the abundance of choices. Choices everywhere, all over the place, wherever you turn your head to. Your phone, your TV, your computer, everything is programmed to suck you in, to hold you there, to keep you stuck, to continue consuming. Consumerism couldn't be easier than before. By the simple click of your fingertips, you can burn through a monthly salary, yet you never seem to be satisfied. And you know why? Because the issue is internal, and no amount of external means can satisfy that hollow feeling that you have. The problem was never materialistic. I saw a TikTok earlier where people were complaining about living this struggling life, worrying about bills, worrying about the car, worrying about the daycare, and that there's no enjoyment in this experience if you don't have access to a lot of financial power. And people in the commentary section responding that those people who think that money doesn't solve problems or money doesn't give you happiness are delusional, and only rich people would say something like that to keep people poor. But the truth is, they don't understand. They cannot fathom what it means to become rich, wealthy, successful in materialistic sense. They cannot see beyond their own personal development. They don't understand that there's always next level of struggle, different kind of struggle, maybe not as painful yet equally meaningful. It's always about the degree of your spiritual satisfaction. When you don't have money, when you're hungry, you are 100% focused on getting that bread on the table. When that problem is solved, you jump on to the next level of the struggle called human experience. In that way, lack of financial means is easier in the sense that it doesn't weigh you down psychologically. It's a straight up problem. You need money, you go after them. But what do you do when you have money, when you have housing, when you have family, when you have people who love you? What comes next? People are naive to think that afterwards comes this happy-go-lucky period of life when you have no remorse, no regrets, no barriers hindering you, only constant joy, happiness, hedonism, and partying away your life till you get no gas in your tank.
Having a lot of choices also leads to opportunity cost. If a person goes to a restaurant and he is given a menu with 100 different choices, he is far more likely to regret his decision after he made it. Maybe he should have ordered the steak anyway. Opportunity cost also takes away the happiness with the current choice. So first we get paralyzed, and then we feel unsatisfied with our choice. But what does this have to do with improving yourself?
The more choices you have, the more paralyzed you feel. You can compare this to dating life, when you have different kind of apps allowing you to swipe left and right, going through hundreds of profiles in the means of an hour, and having the abundance of choices, thinking that there's always something better, something more exciting. And as you probably know, time passes by. You become older, you become bitter from your experiences, yet haven't settled for anything and still feel entitled for the best and the brightest. Of course, this concern may be applied to all areas of your life, and the biggest mistake you can do is to think that you have all the time, not realizing that the more time passes by, the more solid your ego becomes, the more rigid your personality remains, and it will take much more effort to put your guard down, to open your mind to new things. I mean, why should you compromise your comfort? And that right there becomes your defeat.
Well, In his book, The Parallax of Choice, the author Barry Schwartz says that there are two kinds of people, maximizers and satisficers. Maximizers are people who, given a choice, will exhaustively search all the options, seeking all possible information in order to make the best possible choice. This behavior generally consumes a lot of time and often leads to nagging doubts, perhaps when no one clear winner emerged. On the other hand, satisficers are those who settle for a choice that is good enough for them. These people are generally happier with their choice and spend less time choosing, leaving them free to enjoy other things.
I was taught this principle on the first day of my previous job. They said, good enough. Always go for good enough. The part with maximizers is about paralysis of analysis. You are such a perfectionist that you become your own demise, where instead of doing something, you do nothing. Showing up makes up the 80% of the work. Even if you are not doing your best, you are performing. You are sending signals to the universe that you are not giving up, that patience is on your side.
Ideally, you should try to be in both of those categories when appropriate. In my example, when I learn a new skill, I try to be the maximizer. I don't want the just good enough method when there might be something else out there that will help me learn the skill faster. On the other hand, I don't want to spend energy thinking about what to eat in the morning. Instead, I just eat muesli every day and spend the energy and time to read something uplifting and inspirational. Mark Zuckerberg is a satisficer about his clothes. He wears a great t-shirt every single day. To be a satisficer, you need to have standards for what you're looking for, and as soon as the first item satisfies those standards, pick it up and move on.
The mind of a maximizer tends to procrastinate as well, thinking that they need the perfect timing, the perfect alignment of all the criteria that they need in order to take action on their dreams, on their aspirations. This is why such characters can feel that life passes by them and they are not living up to their potential. But on the other hand, at least that person has some kind of a chance. Imagine being a person who has the mindset of a consumer, not a producer. Those kind of people have a hard time navigating in this world, constantly bombarded with information and different anxiety triggers.
So don't let the parallax of choice paralyze you or take away the joy from your decisions. For the few things that matter to you, be the maximizer. But if you want to be overall happier, be the satisficer as much as possible.
And of course, the best way lies in between, the middle ground. But for that you have to have a precise calibration where you can shift between being a satisfier and maximizer, where you can figure out whether you have time on your side or not. Life passes by you when you don't make choices. The greatest thing about choices, regardless if they result in bad things or good things happen to you, is that you gain experience, which will be absent if you don't make any deliberate choices. And on that spot, you will always feel that you are left behind. Life is about sacrifices. Watch this video to get inspiration about why you should sacrifice today to gain tomorrow. Are there any choices that you have regretted? Tell me in the commentary section so we can discuss more. But for now, yours truly, out.